So welcome back. Steve Malzberg with you. Ryan Braun capitulated to Major League Baseball and took his suspension for using growth hormones and banned substances for the rest of this year, including the playoffs. He admitted that he lied in the past and did wrong things. Of course, up to that point, he denied having done anything wrong. And A-Rod reportedly has also been in touch with Major League Baseball, seen the evidence against him. And many people being quoted with anonymity, though close to A-Rod, say he's not going to follow in Ryan Braun's footsteps. He's going to fight any suspension. And joining us now to talk about all this is John Rocca, former Major League pitcher, of course, and author of Scars and Strikes, also a columnist at WND.com. Hello, John. How are you? Good to talk to you again.
Good, Steve. How you doing this afternoon?
Good. All right, so what's your take on all of this? So we knew that this was coming. We knew that the man who ran the clinic down in Florida had gone to Major League Baseball and apparently has been paid by Major League Baseball and has been forthcoming with all kinds of evidence. Apparently Ryan Braun saw the evidence and said, "Uh-oh, you got me." A-Rod, I don't know. So what's your take on this whole thing?
Well, I'm a little surprised to see that. After these many years of, Major League Baseball trying to rid its league of steroids, the punishments that will be levied, was it 50 games for the first offense? Help me out here, 100 for the second offense, and I guess an entire year for the third. Whatever else, be some pretty heavy penalties being levied, and that people are still trying to tiptoe around, through the bushes and get around some of the tests and things like that. I was talking to an individual yesterday, because obviously the punishment and the fear of punishment is not fitting the crime. The punishment and the fear of the backlash of the public, the backlash of the media, the loss of a portion of a year's salary and game time, whatever, is obviously not a big enough threat to warrant committing the crime. I was talking to an individual yesterday, and if you really want to rid PEDs from Major League Baseball, I looked to a clause that currently exists in Major League Baseball contracts that brings to mind a situation that Ron Gant found himself in some years ago. There is a clause in Major League Baseball contracts that if you hurt yourself off field, and there's usually about half a dozen things listed, motorcycle wreck, in basketball, things like that, and you bust a leg up or whatever, and you miss a portion of games, you miss an entire year, the team can actually petition to the league to not have to pay you for those games that you missed because you were off the field doing something stupid that's in your contract you can't do, and they can actually pull those dollars off the table and not have to pay you that portion of your guaranteed contract. If there was something in Major League Baseball, you look at Ryan Braun, he's going to lose about $3.2 million, yada, 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 whatever. He's going to make $111 million over the next 7-8 years. $3.2 million, he really doesn't care about it. If you would have a similar kind of situation that Ron Gant back in 95 or 96 broke his leg on a dirt bike, I think the Braves still owed him like $7 or $8 million, petitioned the league, he hurt himself in one of these, violatory activities, off-field kind of things, broke his leg on a motorcycle dirt bike, commissioned the league, did not have to pay Ron the balance of his contract, $7-8 million. That stings right there when you lose that kind of money. If there would be a clause in Major League contract, if you get called hands down PEDs, fail the drug test, double, triple time, whatever, obviously you have to make it pretty significant. A false test can't come back or whatever. Then a team could petition the league and get out of your contract and not have to pay you guaranteed money. That would stop PEDs in baseball.
Yeah, all right. That's certainly an interesting scenario to present, and it probably sounds like it would have some teeth in it and might work. But let me ask you, first of all, how widely abused are these growth hormones, do you believe?
Well, first of all, growth hormone, when it comes to performance enhancing and things like that, are really kind of benign. It's more of an aging remedy, things like that. It does help you sleep better, and it can help you build muscle and things like that. But as far as the real power and the real, energy boost that you get from an anabolic, HGH just doesn't provide that, which I've never really understood why HGH gets this, same stereotypical negative connotation as an anabolic does. It just doesn't have the same power and effect as an anabolic. But what was your question, Steve?
Well, how widespread is the use of all of them? Let's lump them all the ones that are banned. How widespread do you believe the use of these substances are?
Now I would say, probably less than 10%. Baseball, I think, has minded his business, has cleaned its house up, has done some house cleaning, has been out there with the education, been out there with the the threats of punishment, the threats of suspension. A lot of guys have come in line with that, but I don't know if I quoted this on your show. There are a possible combination of 50,000 different varied molecular combinations of steroids out there, and as of probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, the best drug testing available, the Olympic drug testing, can only test for about 500 of those possible 50,000 molecular combinations of anabolic steroids. But I'm sure, and guys like Ryan Braun and whatnot, they move forward and decide to do it anyway. And I guarantee they're getting stuff built in a lab just like that, adding a molecule, drawing a molecule, getting stuff built just for them. It's very expensive, but it can be done. But just like everything else, I guarantee these tests are also updating themselves to cast a wider net and catch more of these. But I think, as far as Major League Baseball cleaning its house, tending to its business, I think they've done a relatively good job at it. I would say it's probably less than 10%. I think, the 20 or 25 you're looking at right now probably makes up the great majority of the ones who are in the game actually doing something like that today.
All right, we're talking to John Rocker here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Why is it that baseball, it's such huge news and a major scandal when in football, for instance, you got guys, just the other day, I think another guy was suspended for 4 games or whatever, and 4 games is, 25% of their season. That gets unnoticed without hardly a blink of an eye.
And I tell you, I've got a lot of friends that are either current NFL or ex-NFL guys, but some of the stuff that they call, performance enhancing or banned substances or whatever. I mean, you can straight up buy them at GNC. I mean, their banned substances list can be something that you and I can walk into GNC and just put on our credit card. Not a big deal. The stuff Major League Baseball is talking about it's illegal in our society. If you get caught with Winstraw V in your car by a sheriff, he can arrest you right then and there. And that's where I think it's a difference with an NFL player. It's a banned substance in the league of the NFL, whereas Major League Baseball, we're talking about stuff that's banned in society.
Right. Do you think you think that? There's no way A-Rod, no matter whether or not he ever plays again, and I could ask your opinion on that. Maybe you could tell me if you think he'll ever play again for any significant amount of time. If he does play again and he goes on to, hit more home runs than anybody ever before, that's not a record that's going to be respected. That's going to be like Bonds. It's going to be like McGuire, right?
It'll be worse than that. He's already failed 1 test. He's getting ready to get suspended again, more than likely. I know. I was actually just listening to Sean Hannity a few minutes ago. Was talking about that he's planning on appealing a suspension, thing like that. So there will be a fight. It will further, smear whatever fight he ends up in. Will prolong the effort. It will more publicize the effort and things like that. And Alex is 38 this year. For all intents and purposes, is lost for him. If he ends up getting suspended for say 100 games next year, all intents and purposes, next year's lost for him. He really won't have a full season until he's 40. He's at least 100 home runs away from Bonds' record. But yeah, nobody, especially with the smear campaign that will be done while Alex is appealing a suspension, the writers are going to be voting. The ones that will be publicizing his appeal.
Right.
That's going to be the very ones voting on him in 7, 8, 10 years for that haul. I would say he'd get no votes at this point in time.
Right, and of course he's good. If the reports are correct that we also talked about on this show, maybe that's where Hannity got it from. Is that earlier that he wants to draw this out as long as possible to keep collecting that huge paycheck for as long as possible. So the longer he survives in the legal process, even if he ultimately loses, we're talking millions of dollars probably per month. So that's what
$1 million this year and $1 million lost next year. It's 6 of one, half of another.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, quickly, a guy like Robinson Cano, the 10-year contract, the 8-year contract, whatever he's looking for in the free agent market, and he's supposed to be, the crown jewel of the free agent market coming up. The fact that, and you and I have discussed amphetamines and greenies before, and the fact that they don't exist in clubhouses anymore, and that fewer and fewer players are able to play into their, late 30s, early 40s, because, you don't have the greenies to pep you up much anymore. Is a team going to still give a Robinson Cano, a contract that's going to take him till he's, 40, 41, 42 years old?
They will, for the sheer simple fact that it's Major League Baseball from team to team to team functions solely along the capitalistic market that exists here in America, and it's going to come down to a bidding war, and this team's going to try to trump that team, who's going to try to trump that team, and it's going to be an all-out bidding war for a guy who currently right now you may know that in 7 or 8 years, I may be getting bitten in the backside because I've extended Robinson Cano's contract a couple of years too long. But in order to get him right now, I may have won 2 World Series by that time comes.
Right.
Robinson Cano's bat and glove in my lineup, and that's a risk I think folks are willing to take to try to put that hardware in their clubhouse there.
I'm about to make you sick because I'm making myself sick. In closing, we have less than a minute. I'm just going to tell you. Bobby Bonilla is getting $1 million a year for the next 15 or 20 years because that's how he structured his contract.
With LA, I love Bobby Bo, so you don't make me sick.
No, but I mean that's a lot, man. That's pretty smart on his part. Pretty smart.
Yeah,
hey,
Bobby, he's a lot more than just a pretty face now.
Yeah. Hey, John, thank you as always, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Steve.
John Rocker, ladies and gentlemen, former Major League